Welcome to the E-Mortgage Management Hour, where E is for education. I'm your host, Scott Pendleton, with our co-host, Seth Robbins. E-Mortgage Management is a licensed mortgage banking firm, NMLS number 2926, and all of our contact information can be found at tampabay.emmloans.com. Today we have a couple of guests coming aboard with us, and we're going to talk about a couple of different topics. The first topic we're going to discuss today is Heroes Home Advantage, which is a program that eMortgage Management is the national lender sponsor for. We'll get into more detail on that. And obviously, if we're going to talk about Heroes Home Advantage, we have to talk about Heroes. So we're going to real specific into VA loans today. They are the true heroes on the ground out there. So our guest today is going to be in the first segment, Michelle Ladd with Heroes Home Advantage. She's the lady that started the program, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about why she started the program and things of that nature. And then we also have from the TriFin team at Charles Ruttenberg Realty, John Freeman and Scott Lynn, and they're going to talk to us a little bit about real estate in the local market. Two full-time professional realtors, lots of experience. John's also a veteran of the United States Navy, so we'll get those guys on in the second segment and learn a little bit from them. Quick overview of eMortgage Management. We're a mortgage banking firm. We specialize in residential mortgages. If you've heard the show before, you hear me say this all the time. We're not a bank. All we do is mortgages. We don't sell other financial products like CDs or things like that. We don't take deposits. We're just a mortgage banking firm. We do one thing, and we do one thing only, and that's all about residential loans and closing on time. If you have any questions in regard to a refinance or a purchase money loan, feel free to visit us at our website at tampabay.emmloans.com. Click on the Contact Us button in the top right-hand corner, and you can put in any notes that you have and feel free to contact us with any questions. You can also find all of our phone numbers, email addresses, and contact information on the website as well. Brief introduction about myself. Once again, my name is Scott Pendleton. Been in the mortgage business here in this market for about 16 years. I'm very focused on the education piece of the industry. That's why we do this radio show. We want to make sure that we're working with a informed consumer. We don't want to just push you into a program that we think might be best for us. We want to give you options and make sure you get the loan program that's best for your individual needs. So we're very focused on that. I, as well, am a veteran. I'm a veteran of the United States Coast Guard. So I have a special place in my heart working with veterans, and that's why today we're going to talk about Heroes Home Advantage and the VA loan product. My co-host, Seth Robbins. Seth, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, hey there, Scott. Yeah, Seth Robbins, and I'm also a veteran of the United States Army. I served my country both at home and abroad. And on top of that, I happen to be a disabled vet, so I have a special place in my heart for all my brothers and sisters out there who have served and also come back and carry injuries or wounds with them that aren't either visible or invisible. That said, yeah, I've been doing this for close to 15 years now, or 12 years. And the last couple of years, I've been an underwriter, and that means I was the guy behind the scenes that was saying yes and no to people being able to get the actual money off from the lender. Now, outside of that, basically, like you, I really love to focus, Scott, on the fact of educating folks. That way they understand why it is that they're doing what they're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it, and what we're doing, so that when they walk away from the process, they're going to feel good about what they've accomplished, and they're also going to understand exactly why they've accomplished that.
All right, good deal. So before we get going here, we're going to talk about Heroes Home Advantage. I want to give a little a shout out to a couple of local organizations and companies that have been helping us out. We like to sponsor events for our realtor friends, and we've got friends of eMortgage Management, we'll call them, companies that will help us from time to time. So first of all, I want to say thank you to Tampa Bay Brewing Company, local restaurant and brewery. I don't know if you're familiar with them. Great place. They've been in Ybor for 20-plus years now. Great organization. They make some of the best beers in town. If you like to partake in such things. They just opened a brand new location in Oldsmar. The Oldsmar location is on Racetrack Road, basically right across the street from the Oldsmar Flea Market. Great big brewery, beautiful location. The food's phenomenal. I want to thank the Vicky Doble and the Doble family, Todd Jubeck, the general manager there, a personal friend of mine, for sponsoring us for a event that we're doing for the Greater Tampa Bay Association of Realtors. So thank you to them. And I also want to give a shout out to the West Chase Area Business Association, and that's WABA. WABA is a networking organization. No money involved. If you live in the West Chase area and you're in business, any sort of consumer-friendly type of product that you sell, or you own a business in the West Chase area, I definitely recommend that you get involved with WABA. It's a great organization. It's a great way to get out there and share what you do with other local business owners. And you can find their information at westchase.biz. Our first topic today, we're going to discuss Heroes Home Advantage, and I'm going to let Seth. Seth is probably the main guy in my office. He is our Heroes Home Advantage loan officer, we'll say. Seth is very focused, obviously, with his background in the military, on helping, local heroes. And that doesn't just mean military. It doesn't just mean veterans or active duty military. So, Seth, tell us a little bit about Heroes Home Advantage and what they do.
Well, one of the things that Heroes Home Advantage does is that they focus on being able to bring together folks within the real estate transaction world, but also people outside of that, too, who want to participate, provide discounts towards, maybe giving discounts to veterans and things of that nature. So what it really focuses on, though, and the reason why it's Heroes Home Advantage is because it's bringing together real estate agents, title agents, home inspectors, loan lenders and loan officers, along with also things such as appraisers and things of that nature, who are all coming together to be able to give back to those who have given to their country and to their community. So, and when we've defined a hero, like you said, we're not just talking about active duty, and we're not just talking about veterans who have served. We're also talking about first responders, which is classified as, police officers, law enforcement agents, because that's also sheriffs too, not just the Tampa PD. Mm-hmm. And also it includes correctional officers that are included in that also, because they're typically usually duly appointed sheriffs.
Okay.
Outside of that, also, you've got folks that are firefighters, you've got EMTs, you have paramedics who are in that group there. You also have healthcare providers, and healthcare providers doesn't just mean the doctor. It means the nurse. It means the x-ray technician. It means the dentist and the dental technician who are taking care of it. It also means people like CNAs, the often forgotten folks out there taking care of folks and changing bedpans, and the folks who are there when the nurses are busy. The foot troops, CNAs are included in that. So if you know somebody out there, go ahead and get a hold of us. Go check out tampabay.emmloans.com, and more than happy to help you out there and have a conversation with you. And then last but not least, oftentimes the very forgotten group out there, it includes teachers. We recognize teachers as heroes within the community also, because they're teaching our children and bringing up the next generation. And so it's our way of saying thank you to them.
Well, I have a 16-year-old daughter, and I can guarantee you that her teachers are all heroes, because it's tough out there. It's tough. I don't know how teachers do it. So
yeah, I got an 18-year-old, so I understand.
Yeah. So, when we talk about heroes, obviously, who we say is a hero is different in everybody's eyes. I love sports. I love football. I'm excited about the football season. I'm a little less excited about the football season after the Bucs play Sunday, but I'm still excited. I love to watch a good football game, and I appreciate the effort that these guys make. But, I want my child and kids in the area to look up to true heroes. I've got a very good friend of mine that's a Tampa police officer on the SWAT team, Lou Walton. Great guy. He's a hero. What he does on a daily basis is truly heroic. To me, heroes are those people that when everybody else is running away from chaos, they're the ones that turn around and run into the fire or run into the chaos, And, like Seth said, you think about those teachers. They're dealing with a lot of chaos on a daily basis. They really are true heroes. So tell me, Seth, with the Heroes Home Advantage program, what exactly, and I know it's going to be different from vendor to vendor, but give me an idea. What does it offer? What does that hero get? If I come to eMortgage Management, they're the national lender. I go to tampabay.emmloans.com, and I'm a police officer or a firefighter or a teacher, a veteran of the military. What do I get?
So what happens is that once we establish that that's one of the criteria that's been met, is that you are one of those individuals, you are one of those groups of folks, then basically what happens is just a way to say thank you for your service to the country or to the community. What we do as a company is eMortgage Management. We say, hey, here's $500 credit at the closing table. You're not giving us anything aside from your business. You're not giving us anything. We're literally giving you $500. We're handing you $500 in credit at the closing table, which when you deal with like a VA loan, and not to segue to the VA side, but we're still talking about a Heroes Home Advantage, but that means that basically your appraisal's paid for by our company through that program. And then also additionally what happens is that aside from us, if we're working with a Heroes Home Advantage realtor, then they've committed a percentage of their commissions, their gross commissions, to give back to the hero also at the closing table. And then there's additional, some of the other partners, they'll discount some of their fees and things of that nature involved that typically, as folks who are out there know, you hear that magic word closing costs that go into those closing costs and affect those closing costs. And so, I mean, it can quite literally add up to thousands of dollars that are credited back towards that hero to help them with their closing costs, to help them with the process of buying that house, and to have a smaller financial impact on their pocketbook to get into a home and help them to become a homeowner more easily. But also, if they're refinancing their home, then it's just a way to help bring those costs down and to have it become a more effective financial product to help secure them and to create a safer, more equitable financial future for them and give them safer footing to be on.
Right. So, listen, I think we're all aware that, those firefighters and police officers, those teachers, most of those nurses, they're not making six-figure incomes, right? They're out there working hard for us every day, and they don't necessarily earn what they should, in my opinion. But that's a conversation for another day. So what we're trying to do within the Heroes Home Advantage, and we're going to have Michelle Ladd come on in just a minute and talk to us a little bit about, more details of the program. But what we're trying to do is give a little back, just a way to say thank you, for what you do for us on a daily basis. So I'm going to give you kind of an example. And what I'm going to use is an example of a $250,000 sale price. So in this scenario, we've got a realtor involved, a lender credit. There's a credit from the title agency, small credit from the home inspector, and I'll kind of break it down for you. So in this scenario, $250,000 purchase, the typical realtor commission on that would be 3% or $7,500. So in this scenario, that realtor agreed to kick 25% of their commission back to that hero. And they're saying, Mr. Hero, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for coming to me to allow me to help you experience a dream of home ownership. I'm going to give you 25% of my commission. In that example, it equates to $1,875. I can't remember the last time somebody gave me $1,875. It doesn't happen every day. You know what I mean? So that's a substantial gift. So when you take that $1,875, you top on top of it a $500 lender credit. You get a $100 credit from the title company. You got a home inspector kicking you $25. In that scenario, you've got about $2,500 going to that hero in credits. Now, that's money that's paying for closing costs. That's less money out of pocket. So when that hero closes on that house, whether it be a man or a woman and their spouse wants to go buy new furniture and new curtains and all the things that you need when you buy a house, you've got extra money to do those things. So with that being said, you guys kind of have a feel for what the program's all about. I'm going to invite Michelle Ladd to kind of tell us a little bit about the program. Michelle, are you there?
I'm here.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for having me, Scott. And I just wanted to, if you don't mind, just tell Seth, thank you so much for your services to our country. I deeply respect you.
No, I appreciate that. It was truly an honor to serve my country, and honestly, it's an honor to help through this program to serve those who are continuing to serve the country and the community.
Great. Well, Michelle, so tell me, what made you decide to start a Heroes Real Estate Rebate Program?
Well, I've been in real estate for 20 years now, and 5 years ago I decided to open my own office. And I am the daughter of an Air Force lieutenant colonel, and at the time when I opened my brokerage, my son Tom was serving in the United States Marines, and he was on his second deployment to Iraq. And I decided that I wanted to do something to give back. I've always been a pay it forward kind of girl. And I saw so many programs out there for military discounts. And so I decided to reach out to our local veterans, and then I opened it up to the first responders and the teachers and the healthcare providers. And just as I started to do that, my second son, my youngest, went into the Navy. So I just really started to pay attention to what our military really does for us. And I just jump-started it. I got boots on the ground, and I just started visiting all the military organizations and the police departments, the fire departments, the hospitals, the schools, and just really got to know what these heroes really do for us. And every story I heard just kept pushing me more and more to give back more and more. So I started it locally, and then several years ago, I had brokers around the country, real estate brokers, asking to be part of the program. So we took it nationally. And recently, EMM came on board, and we were just so excited to have a national lender that was willing to give a $500 credit. So that's kind of how we started. And we have helped hundreds and hundreds of heroes across the country save thousands.
That's
and
great.
It's just growing every day. Our mission is to reach out to our heroes across the country. We want every one of them to realize the discounts that they receive if they go through our realtors and our lenders.
So can you give me kind of an example? Tell us about a hero client who benefited from your program that left an impression with you personally. I mean, obviously, I'm sure there's hundreds of scenarios, but you started this program a long time ago, and like you said, and you kind of answered a question I was going to ask you. This is a national program. I know you guys just kicked it off in the state of Florida here in the last year or so, and we're super excited to be involved with your program at eMortgage Management, and we're very happy to have you guys doing the program here in the state of Florida. But give me some examples. Give me some of those stories behind the program.
Okay. I will tell you, my very first wounded warrior, 21 years old, came to me. He heard about the program through the VA here locally in Rochester. And as I was writing his contract to purchase his house, he started sharing his story with me, and it just melted me. My son was actually still in Iraq when he was telling me his story, and there was a grenade thrown into the crowd of where my hero was standing, and this young man is disabled for the rest of his life. He's 100% disabled. And so that kid touched me. And then I started just reaching out more and more to the heroes. My next hero was, he's a police officer, and he's also an Air Force reservist who's been to combat twice, and he started sharing some stories with me. And so he would start referring me to the police officers here. Another story that really touched me recently is from one of my partners, realtor partners in Virginia. She actually just helped a pregnant wife and a Army, I believe he's in. He's deployed, and she actually helped them. Yeah, actually helped him purchase a home through Skype. And so while he's in Afghanistan, she helped the family purchase a home and save them thousands. And they recently had the baby, and he also has referred her to many veterans that are in Afghanistan that are buying houses with her. So, there are literally just hundreds and hundreds, because we keep track of our lenders and realtor partners across the country, and they share those stories with us, and they're just touching. The firefighter stories, the police stories. Everyone follows me directly because I have ridden in 15 Rochester police cars. I go on their jobs with them. I ride with the firefighters. I get in the ambulances, and I share these stories with our partners across the country and our heroes across the country, because we are raising awareness to thank these heroes, and this is how we know how to do it, is through our real estate profession.
Well, Michelle, I heard something in there. This is Seth. I heard something in there as you talked about reaching out to a deployed active duty military and a realtor using the tools that are available to them through technology, through Skype, and just through cellular technology and things of that nature, to be able to reach out to them and be able to facilitate that deployed soldier being able to be part of the process with his spouse, who, and having been deployed overseas, I can tell you this much. I can't tell you enough from being having been a soldier myself, how incredibly disconnected and how difficult it is to be disconnected from your loved ones like that, especially your spouse, your kids. It's a difficult time, and I personally know guys who had wives who were 7-8 months pregnant when we were deployed, and so it boils down to be able to utilize that technology and to actively be involved and to be able to be literally half a world away. That's amazing. That's amazing stuff right there.
It is truly amazing. I actually had a Army soldier purchase his house with me while he was in Iraq, and he actually made me power of attorney because he was single, and sent me $13,000 to help him purchase his home sight unseen while he was in Iraq.
He must have really trusted you.
He did. He really trusted me. But, that's who I am, and everybody knows it. So it went off very well.
That's fantastic. So real quick, back to some of the basics of the program. This program is just available for home buyers or sellers as well?
It's also for home sellers. So what the realtor will do is they'll actually discount their commission by a full 25%. And it's also for refinances. Even though a realtor is not involved in refinancing, we want our heroes to save every penny when they refinance their home, too.
Absolutely, and we're there to help them with that. And if they have any information, as always, they can find us at tampabay.emmloans.com. So tell me a little bit about, what advice you would give a hero looking for the program, or how can they find the realtors or vendors involved with HHA?
Well, we are doing a lot of promotion to many different hero organizations throughout the country, social networking, as well as touching base with local departments and hospitals and military bases. And we're trying to let every hero in the country know about our program. All they have to do is register right online. On the front page, there's a contact form. They just fill out the contact form. And then once we've received the contact information, they can either call or go on to heroesfromadvantage.com. We take in the hero lead, and then we send it out to our EMM as well as our realtor to save them thousands. There's absolutely no forms. There's no red tape. There's no fee. It's our way of saying thank you.
So no money involved, no fees involved.
No money involved.
Not
no,
a bunch of
nothing.
Now, I can't say the same for us. When you come to us to do a mortgage, unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of paperwork involved. That's just the nature of our industry. But with Heroes Home Advantage, they don't have to fill out, a long application or anything like that. The process to me sounds pretty simple. They go to the website, find the vendors that are available, and go to work.
And what was that website again, Michelle?
It's heroeshomeadvantage.com.
So all one word, .com.
All one word.
That's great.
And
well,
we also have a 888 number, and it's 888-452-9995.
That's great. That's great. Well, number one, Michelle, I want to thank you for coming on the call with us today. I think what you guys are doing is phenomenal. I know here in our market, we're a little specialized. Obviously, everybody has police officers and firefighters and school teachers and healthcare workers in their market. We have a large military presence here as well, with MacDill Air Force Base being right in our backyard. Of course, we're by the water, so we've got a lot of Coast Guard, Navy, and other presences as well. So thank you for coming on with us today.
And I just wanted to say thank you very much also, Michelle. We appreciate the opportunity to participate.
Well, I appreciate it, and I want to thank EMM for the trust that they placed in our company to help us reach out to these heroes, because they're saving thousands with you guys.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming on the call today, and I'm sure we'll be doing a lot of business moving forward. So with that being said, we're about to finish up with this segment. I do want to also mention, in addition to the things that we do, We also are involved with the Grammatica Foundation, and I'm sure you've all heard of Martin Grammatica. He and his brother Bill Grammatica are building homes for veterans here in the market and giving them away. So that's another great organization. So with that being said, thank you to Michelle Ladd. She did a great job. It's a great organization. Make sure you visit us at tampabay.emmloans, and you can get more information on the program. Welcome back to the E-Mortgage Management Hour with me, Scott Pendleton, and my co-host, Seth Robbins. This next segment, we're going to get into a little bit of detail about VA loans, the loans for true heroes. We're going to talk about what makes you eligible and things of that nature. After we get into that, we're going to talk a little bit to our two guests, Scott and John, and they're going to tell us about the market and what's going on in real estate right now in the greater Tampa Bay area. So with that being said, I'm going to let Seth kind of go into the VA loan a little bit. So Seth, I mean, obviously, just because you were in the military doesn't mean you get a VA loan. There are some requirements. There's some guidelines. You have to be honorably discharged, things of that nature. But tell me, who's eligible for VA loans? What is a VA loan?
All right, so a VA loan is administered by the Veterans Affairs Administration, by the federal department, by the feds up in Washington, D.C. And we've heard about the VA because of some of the other stuff that goes on out there. But this is truly one of those programs that I can say unequivocally, having done this for 12 years, that if there's one thing that the VA absolutely does right and gets right every single time, it is this program. And so the Veterans Affairs Administration, what they do is they started back, I believe, right after World War II. So back in the 1920s, they introduced this program to be able to help folks to be able to help returning veterans become homeowners. And then what happened was that they ramped it up big time right after World War II. World War II is when they passed the Montgomery GI Bill, and they also made this a permanent fixture. And we really saw the baby boomer generation and the greatest generation that came before. We saw them being able to reach out after their military service in World War II and defeating the Nazis and defeating the Axis out there, not only building the phenomenal, incredible nation that we live in today, little things like, the Hoover Dam and the interstate system that they built. One of the rewards and one of the things that they did that allowed that kind of success to carry forward and made us this great country that we are today, and the economy that we have, the economy, whether it's doing well, whether it's running along and humming along, or if it's not, we're where we are today because they were able to become homeowners and build communities and build things. So that's what the VA loan was designed to do, is to help veterans and also active duty who decided to make a career out of it become homeowners.
Right. And like I said before, this program is really designed for retired active duty military. Obviously, if they're active duty, there's no issues. Typically for honorably discharged veterans, reservists and National Guard are eligible for the
Correct.
program as well. Typically, when you start talking about VA, the guidelines are a little less restrictive. It kind of acts in the same realm of like an FHA loan. Credit score is not as restrictive. The rates on VA loans are typically lower than conventional loans, so we're offering a little bit lower rate. They are government-insured loans, or government-backed. There's no monthly mortgage insurance with a VA loan. That's another great benefit. And if I didn't say it, they're 100% finance loans. So for zero down payment, that veteran or active duty military, whoever's eligible, if they can get that coveted certificate of eligibility, which is something that veteran will understand, they are eligible for 100% financing. And typically in these transactions, and if you listen to some of our previous shows, we've given you some examples. Typically in these transactions, that veteran's walking into this home with no money out of pocket. With the seller concessions, which are the seller can pay up to 4% of the closing costs of the veteran, which typically would more than cover all their closing costs. That veteran has the capacity to purchase a home, zero money down. You're going to put up your typical escrow money deposit or good faith deposit. So say you're buying a $100,000 house, you're going to put $1,000 escrow money deposit up. If you can get the seller to assist you with closing costs in the form of a seller concession, and you're getting 100% financing, typically when we go to closing, instead of the borrower coming to closing with money, they're getting their $1,000 escrow money deposit back. And there's nothing better than walking into the closing room, at the title company, signing all your disclosures, and them handing you a check with the keys to the house.
Last month, just got the opportunity to do that with one of my clients who did a purchase of his home. In fact, the last week, the program, we talked about his scenario, and
right.
yeah, he got his $1,000 check back, which was really helpful because then he was able to go repair the fence on his new home that he had just bought and have a fence rebuilt around the property line.
Nice. So tell me, Seth, obviously there are, some administrative fees with a VA loan. Tell me about the upfront funding fee.
So the upfront funding fee is a percentage based on how much money you are putting down. Because yes, you can do 100% financing, but what that is so if you do 100% financing, there's a little more risk that's involved. There's going to have to be a little more insurance issued by the VA, and so they charge what's called an upfront funding fee. And so what that is it's a percentage. It's actually 2.15% for the first time use. And if you've ever used your VA loan before and you're coming to use it again, there's an additional subsequent use fee that's a little bit higher at 3.3% at the 100% usage level. Now, what that is you're paying it forward for the next veteran coming behind you. And as much as it's painful to have a little bit of extra coming out of your pocket for that, it gets tagged on top of the loan. It's not money that has to come out of your pocket. It's going to be just added to the top of the loan. So you're actually getting to finance, like 101% of the value of the home when that comes down like that. But what's important to remember is that you are paying it forward to the next veteran or the next active duty military member coming behind you to be able to utilize this benefit. That's how they continue this to roll forward and not cost the taxpayer a mint to do it.
What if the veteran's disabled?
Well, having used my VA loan benefit myself in the past and having currently actually being a disabled vet, then I can tell you this, knowing firsthand personally that the beautiful part about this is as a reward to veterans who have, again, suffered wounds that either may be visible or not visible to the public, they actually waive that funding fee. Okay. So it's just their way of saying not only have you served your country, thank you for serving your country, but it's also them saying you've sacrificed above and beyond just serving your country.
That's fantastic. So, there is a little bit of administrative cost with the VA loan. If you're a disabled vet, they waive that funding fee. Once again, it doesn't come out of pocket. It's not something that's costing you. They take that 2.15% or 3.3%. They spread it out over 30 years, and typically it doesn't really affect your payment very much. And like I said before, the rates are much better on VA loans. I've done VA loans for clients, even though they're putting 20, 25, 30% down sometime, and they can get a conventional loan with no mortgage insurance because the rates are so much lower, it's still a better option for them. So, and that loan program if you currently have a VA loan, if you're above 4.75%, you need to reach out to us. We do what's called a VA streamline, we'll call it. In the industry, you'll hear us call it a VA IRRL, but it's basically a VA streamline refinance product. It's a great loan program. We don't have to redocument your income as long as you're making your payments on time. We're not going to order an appraisal or anything like that. It really is truly a streamlined process, and we could definitely save you money and get you into a lower interest rate. And a lot of times in those situations, we can cover your closing costs for you. Just reach out to us at tampabay.emmloans.com, and we're happy to have that discussion with you. So when we talk about VA loans, if you remember last week in the show, we talked about FHA loans. In our market, there's an FHA loan limit. It's $271,050. So that's the highest FHA loan we can do. The nice thing about VA is their VA loans go up to the conforming loan limit of $417,000. So you could go buy a house for $417,000 with your VA benefit and get 100% financing. The other thing to think about with that is even if you are looking to purchase a home above that price range, there is a VA jumbo product, and most people don't know about it and aren't aware of it. The VA jumbo product is a great program. Basically what VA does is they're insuring 25% of the loan. So if you do a VA loan over $417,000, basically you come up with 25% of the difference. So let me give you an example. Say you're buying a $500,000 house. In that example, you'd have to come up with 25% of the difference. In this case, the difference is $83,000. So of that $83,000, your down payment would be $20,750, which equates to about a 4% down payment. And I don't know anybody that's doing jumbo loans with 4% down. And I can tell you that VA loans, the rates are way better than jumbo pricing. So, most scenarios with jumbo financing, there's always exceptions to the rule, but generally speaking, most people getting a jumbo loan are looking at putting 20% down. So you're talking about the difference of putting $20,000 down or $100,000 down. In that scenario, the VA loan is a much better option, and it, like I said, is a very, very, very good product.
Well, and on top of that, one of the things also that the listeners need to know is that besides the financial benefits of utilizing the VA loan out there and the great benefits that it affords them from that, one of the biggest other benefits that it affords veterans, especially as they get into the latter years of their life and they're moving towards that time where it's time to kick back, relax, and they're moving into their golden years. Then one of the great things about that is that life happens, but the VA loans afford specific protections for veterans if they do have some financial difficulties, if they do run into some bumps in the road as they get into those golden years. There's some additional protections that are built into VA loans to be able to help out vets.
So, listen, nobody wants to see somebody that served our country in a bad spot, but unfortunately it happens out there. So, there are some other programs within the VA realm. We do offer a VA construction to perm loan where basically you're building a home. You're doing new construction at 100% financing, another phenomenal product. It's a great opportunity if you want to build a house. When you start talking about VA loans or any loan, we always talk about the type of property. There's obviously single-family homes out there. There's townhomes, condominiums. Condominiums are always a little bit trickier when it comes to VA loans. And in those scenarios, what you have to be aware of when you're looking at purchasing a condominium, if you want to buy a condo and you have VA eligibility, that condo has to be on the VA approved list. And I can tell you, there's not a lot of them. I checked this morning. Right now in Hillsborough County, there are 51 approved condo projects in all of Hillsborough County, and in Pinellas County there's 48 approved condo projects. So you're pretty limited in what you can do and what condo projects are available. So the thing to be conscious of and think about if you're thinking about buying a condo, which don't get me wrong, for some people the condo life is great. I'm about tired of cutting my grass. I'm ready to move into a townhouse or something like that and have less maintenance. But it's just something to be to be conscious of and to think about if you're using your VA benefit.
Well, and I was going to say, so basically in the Tri-County area, there are 99 approved condos for the VA. I'm pretty sure, and I'm sure that's something that we can shoot towards Scott and John when they're coming on here, that there's more than just 99 condo groups here in the Tri-County area.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of condos in our market. So with that being said, let's introduce our guests, Scott Lynn and John Freeman from the Tri-Fin team at Charles Ruttenberg Realty. A little bit about the guys. So let's start with John. John is originally from Chicago. He's been here since he was 15 years old, graduate of Countryside High School, so he's been in the market for a long time. As I said, John is a Navy veteran, and we'll get John an opportunity to tell us a little bit about himself.
Yeah, I came down from Chicago at 15, kicking and screaming. My dad came out with Clearwater Police Department, and so I got brought down here, and I went to originally Dunedin, and then they split up and they put us in Countryside. So I've been in the area the whole time. I've had plenty of opportunities to leave, and there's just no reason to leave. This is home. So I've continued to move north as time goes by, because when we moved, we were Sunset 19, which was pretty much the drop off of civilization at that time. And I kept on moving up, and now my wife and I live in Odessa. And I did 30 years working with kids, with abused and neglected kids, SED and EH, and decided I needed to step off from that. I wanted to do something else where I thought I could help people out. Obviously, helping folks is big with my dad being a cop and whatnot. So I decided that real estate would be a good way to do that. And so I got involved in that and joined up with Tri-Fin team because I always, like to be part of something that's a little bigger than myself. And I figured they had a lot of good knowledge that I could glean off of.
All right. Well, you were in the United States Navy, and
yes,
that's a little big.
That's a little bigger team.
It's a little bigger team. They really. I was in the Coast Guard. We had little boats. You guys had really big boats.
Big. Well, there's the 6-foot joke too.
Yeah,
you had to be over 6 feet tall to be in the Coast Guard. So that way, if the ship went down, you could walk back to shore.
That's right.
And in all honesty, in the Army, we love the Navy because you know what? You got us where we needed to be, and you got our equipment where we needed to be because nothing would be worse than being out there without our armor.
And the bottom line is, I don't remember any T-shirts in that room when you stood in there and you raised your hand and you took that oath. I just remember a bunch of looking around and seeing a bunch of concerned looks on guys' faces and girls. So it doesn't matter which branch you went into. If you took that oath, you're in.
Yep. And I can tell you that, from my experience in the Coast Guard to what's going on in the military, they're all doing a lot of really good work. And I still have a lot of very close friends that are active duty military, including the Coast Guard.
Absolutely.
Yep. And ultimately it said one thing in front of all of our tags. It said U.S.
That's
right. That's right. So
Amen.
Our other guest, Scott Lynn. Scott is been in the market, been in the real estate, and also was in the mortgage industry years ago. A partner with Tri-Fin Realty Advisors, 16 years experience. So been in the business about as long as I have. So he's seen the ups and downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Scott has 4 children, 4 boys. God bless you. It's like having his own little army at home.
Baseball team.
There you go. It says here Scott hails from Michigan originally.
Go Wolverines.
Been in Florida for 25 years, so everybody here has been here for a long time. I actually was born in Florida. I'm one of the rare breed. I'm a native. I'm a native Floridian. I know there's not a lot of us left. And Scott is also very involved with the Wounded Warrior Project, which is another great organization when it comes to veterans. So, Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about Tri-Fin Realty.
Well, Tri-Fin Realty, we started in November, came together with a collaboration with Alberto Babaki, a good partner, friend of mine, and we wanted to create something a little bit different than what's out there in the market. When you're trying to choose a realtor, it's kind of easy to think, well, what makes one realtor different than another realtor? And we wanted to answer that question, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But hail from Michigan, as you said, been in Florida for about 25 years. Not a veteran, but I have a lot of familiarity with that, being my dad was a pastor. We moved about 15 times, so I do understand having no best friends, nobody close. But coming to Florida, found my family, found my home, and obviously found the business with Tri-Fin, and we're doing a great job for the community and with the Wounded Warrior Project and some of the other incentives we give to our veterans, such as military relocation professionals that we offer to families that are whether they're moving into the Tampa Bay area, moving out of the Tampa Bay area. We have that designation with our office, and we're able to help them with their relocation efforts. And we have a special place in our heart for veterans, just like we've heard on the show from so many people today.
Yeah, that's great. And, you hit on something there, and you'll hear me say this a lot on the show. What makes one realtor different than another? Why should I choose Realtor A over Realtor B? And I can tell you from my experience, I work with realtors every day. Every transaction we do, we're a purchase shop. Most of the business we do is purchase-based. We're dealing with typically 2 realtors on every transaction. And I can tell you from my experience, they're not all the same. There's very different levels of commitment. I'm a firm believer that if you're going to work with a realtor, make sure you work with a full-time licensed professional, not somebody that does this as a part-time hobby. Work with a career-oriented full-time realtor.
Couldn't agree more.
If you're working with somebody that is, got a 9-to-5 day job and they're doing real estate on the weekends, you're going to miss out. Especially in a market like we have today with multiple offers coming in on these properties, you got to have somebody that's nimble, that can work quickly and get that offer in for you. So, what are you guys seeing in the market right now? What do you? I see a lot of multiple offers. Tell me a little bit about what you're seeing in the market.
Well, right now I'm working with a lot of customers that want to get into bank-owned and REO properties.
Real popular.
That's a great option for them. It's like anything else. It's got its pros and cons. If you've got customers that have the financing, they've been pre-approved and they're willing to wait it out, that's a great option for them. They can get more bang for their buck. The problem with that is that you put in your bid and you wait your time, and it's not like when you're dealing with a single family homeowner where you put in your bid and the realtor can come back and tell you that bid's just not going to get it, and you can work with your clients and resubmit. With the bank-owned REO, you're just kind of waiting and hoping and praying. So, that's where I'm at with a lot of my clients right now.
I'll jump in there too. I mean, right now we're definitely still in a transition seller's market, which if you're a buyer and you're out there looking for property, you're going to run into this hands down probably on any property that you put an offer in. It's going to be a multiple offer situation. Right. And as you were saying, Scott, that's the most valuable part about having a full-time realtor. You got to have somebody who understands the statistics of what's going on in the area, what the values are, what the reasonableness of that offer is, and they've got to know those neighborhood demographics, and they've got to understand how to make your offer stand out from the other offers that are coming in, and especially when you're competing against a cash offer sometimes. It's an emotional decision, and so people are going to look at this, and they're not always going to go with the investor. They're going to look sometimes at the best offer that's going to create an emotional connection for that family moving into the home, and that's where we come in to make sure we make that connection.
Well, and out of that, Scott, are you seeing currently in the market, and John, are you seeing in the market, besides the multiple offers, are you seeing like mini bidding wars happening?
Absolutely.
So we're seeing kind of that
we're at
2002, 2003 ramp up towards the boom.
We are, and I think obviously you guys, me being in the mortgage business prior and understanding I guess the trenches that you guys are in and the valuableness of having somebody like you as our partner. In this market right now, we've got the Fed maybe stepping in to raise the rate just a little bit and moderate that down, but we are definitely from back in 2012, which would be about the bottom, we're at about a 21% increase. So right now, builders are raising their prices on every 5 homes that they sell. Banks are raising their prices to match the builders. So we're getting a little bit of excessiveness going on in the market, and we do need a little bit of moderation to step in, but that is exactly what we're seeing.
And it's a shortened inventory, too. And unfortunately, folks up north that were buried under 5 feet of snow over the winter didn't get the memo. They're not supposed to be coming down. They're coming down. They're looking for properties. So it's that constant supply and demand is going on, and that makes it difficult for us. But to what you were saying about, getting with a full-time realtor, that's also one of the reasons why I got with Trifin was so important, because I don't have the 16 years experience, but I do, I do have the commitment, I do have the drive, I do have the urge. So I did want to get with people that when people come to me and ask me a question, I don't have to look at them and try to snow them and just baffle them. I can tell them, you know what, I haven't got that answer, but I'll get it for you right away. And I can call and get that answer as quick as I can for them.
And I'll jump in there real quick, Scott, just to say, this is the whole reason the show is on the air, is to partner together the sources that you need to facilitate your transaction with experience, knowledge, and tenacity. Absolutely. And that's what we all are doing. And that's why we partner together. And when you're partnered with a professional like us on the show, you're going to have all of the resources that we've spent years cultivating so that you don't have to. We're going to do it for you, and we're going to make that transaction as seamless and at the end of the day, as happy for you as it can possibly be to exceed your expectations.
That honesty and integrity, is when you look back, it's never failed anybody.
No.
If you're honest and hardworking and have integrity, then you're going to be all right.
I don't know about that. I told my wife about our jeans one time. It didn't work out so well, so I'm not sure.
Well, fair enough.
There's always the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
Well, so, you guys hit on some really great and important points, and one of the things that we try to really facilitate, and like you heard me say in the beginning of the show, it's really about educating and making sure you have an informed consumer. We really drive the education piece. We want to make sure that the people understand their options. Not every loan product is right for every individual. Not every property is right for every individual. And sometimes you can get really caught up in the emotional side of it, and there has to be that calming voice sometimes that says, hey, let's step back for a minute. Let's look at this transaction. Listen, we're in the business of closing loans and selling houses, right? That's what we do. Correct. But in the end, we want to do what's right for the customer. We want them to walk away with a smile on their face so they say good things about us out in the market, because we live on referrals, right? And it's all about that. And if you're not,
reviews.
If people are not giving us those good referrals, or like you said, those good reviews. Listen, we live in a cyber world. If you go to Zillow and look me up, I've got 19, 20 reviews on there. They're all 5-star. They're all very good, and I'm sure you guys are very similar in that aspect. If you want to find out who you're working with and how they do business, Google them. That World Wide Web is out there, buddy, and you can find the information that you want on these people. So, I encourage people to do their research, do their homework, and educate themselves.
Jumping in on that, what you're looking for is exactly what you just said. You don't want a yes man. You don't want a person who's just going to tell you what you want to hear. What you want is somebody who's going to really give you that honest feedback when you're making a bad decision, or maybe need some direction for a better decision.
Great. And you know what? You guys really hit the nail on the head. So I want to thank you guys for coming on with me.
Our pleasure.
Scott, Lynn, John
Glad to have
Freeman, you guys did a great job. I know you guys are true professionals. I'm sure we'll have you on the show again in the future. We look forward to working with you. And I hope that as we move forward here, people will reach out to us on tampabay.emm loans, and we're there to help you. So have a great night.